Okay, welcome everybody to Chilling with Torah Sunday night at David Chai Synagogue. Last week we finished Sefer Vayikra, Chazak, V'nit Chazak, Be'ezat Hashem. We get stronger in our Torah learning, Avodat Hashem, V'Torat Mitzvot V'Maasim Tovim.
Amen.
May this class be to the Hatzlacha of Itai
Ben Hana.
And may you have a big success in Zivug. The same way that we're now connecting Vayikra to Bamidbar, may you find his connection. They find a Zivug Mishosh Nishmato, and Bezat Hashem we'll have Besorot Tovot Bimhera. And
רפואה שלמה לחנה בת שוקת.
רפואה שלמה לרחנה בת שוקת. May all this learning be to the merit of our health, Bezat Hashem. בוא תן לנו חידוש. בוא. Okay. We have Sefer Bamidbar. This is, every time the Bamidbar comes around, this is where the Jews get in trouble. They always get in trouble in this particular book. A lot of stories. We just finished the whole Torah of the Kohanim. Last parasha was the Tochacha. All of a sudden now we get Parashat Devarim, and you see as it starts to unfold, we're always going to say, how could they do this and how could they do that? We become so judgmental.
Spies, Korah.
Yeah, so much, but Be'ezat Hashem, we'll get to learn the deeper meanings of all these events. There's a few beautiful chidushim that I'll start the class with, and then we'll take it from there. It says over there in the beginning, "Vaydaber Adonai Moshe b'midbar Sinai be'ohel moed." It says over there, the Hashem spoke to Moshe b'midbar Sinai. What's different about this first pasuk? Usually it says "Vaydaber Hashem al Moshe." Last week, Behar, Vaydaber Hashem al Moshe Bahar. Okay, I'll accept it. He was on top of a mountain. It was the time of Matan Torah. I'll accept it. He spoke to him from the mountain. But to tell him now, he's speaking to Moshe b'midbar in Sinai. What do you need to tell us there in the desert? We don't need to know the location. Why was it necessary for the Torah to say they spoke to Moshe b'midbar? So there's a few explanations. One of them is that right now we're reading the Pirkei Avot, that there's 40 ways to acquire the Torah. 48 ways to acquire the Torah. And there's a list. 3 things on that list, 3 ways to acquire the Torah. It says Esh, Maim, V'Bamidbar. It says 3 ways to acquire the Torah is through fire, through water, and Bamidbar. It makes no sense. I have to go to the desert to acquire the Torah? Can I not acquire it anywhere? Okay, in Miami, Florida, I have to acquire it in the Midbar? Doesn't make sense. But it does make sense. Give you a deeper explanation. I heard this beautiful class from a rabbi in Brooklyn, Rabbi Meir Yedid, also had a beautiful insight to it. He says, to acquire the Torah, let's start with fire. What's fire? Let's start with mine. What's mine? It's water. Water, no matter how high you put it, it always goes to the lowest point possible. He says a person that wants to learn Torah can't have gava. You can't have pride, ego. You can't be, you have to go to a very low level to acquire the Torah. If you feel that you're such a high level monetarily or spiritually, like for example, you know what, I don't need to learn Torah. All these people learn Torah in order to be successful in life. I'm already a millionaire. I don't need help. Wrong. Or some guy comes and says, you know what, I'm already a huge Torah scholar. What can anybody teach me? This rabbi is 70 years old. His Torah is old. This rabbi just got out of the academy. His Torah is still fresh. This guy's not even a rabbi. What's this guy going to tell me? The guy's not even a rabbi. He's talking Divrei Torah. What am I going to learn from him? Gava. Okay. Can't acquire the Torah that way. They say, who is the smart man? The one that learns from everybody. From everybody. From everybody you can learn. Not only that, you can learn from the older rabbi that in our, the Jews, the older the person is, the more respect we give him. It's not like the opposite that, the Goyim, As the people start to get to the 60s and 70s, people are already looking for old age homes for their parents. It's not like that for Jews. For us, the Zekenim, the knowledge that they have, we yearn for it. Another thing is, we also live in the age of Teshuvah. This is the day and age that Baalei Teshuvah are practically outnumbering the ones that are in the Torah. Don't discount the Baalei Teshuvah. Their Torah is beautiful too. They also go and they learn and they study, and when they say Divrei Torah, don't feel like you can't learn from them. Sometimes one of the most beautiful Divrei Torah coming from Baalei Teshuvah, and I can tell you right now, there's some rabbis that I've been listening to. Their past, you wouldn't believe their past, but their Torah, sweeter than honey. Sweeter than honey. So in other words, you have to be like water. Low, down to earth, to the lowest point. Otherwise, you can't acquire Torah. And in the Torah, you acquire from everybody. Anybody who gives you Divrei Torah, you take it. You're never too good to listen to Torah, regardless who the person is in front of you. Don't have gava, in other words. Secondly, they said, fire. You can't acquire Torah if you don't have fire. What's fire? Fire is light. Light. What's light? It's the opposite of darkness. Person, when he's in the dark and he can't see, what is he going to do? Imagine I tell you, get into your car, in the middle of the darkness, no light anywhere, don't turn on the lights of the car, just drive. Scary, no? How much can you do that for? Second, 2 seconds, 10 seconds before, what's going to be? You turn on the light, I can see in front of me. That's the same person in life. In life, you can't go through life without light. You can't go in the dark your entire life, not knowing Torah, not knowing mitzvot, not knowing masim tovim, not to know the way of Hashem. You can't constantly be in the dark your entire life. You have to. You want to acquire the Torah, you need esh, you need light. You need it to light up the road for you. However, esh is a different property also. Fire burns, right? What's fire burns? It says that a fire, for example, there's a guy that says, I don't need, my light is on. I'm in Torah, I'm in mitzvot, I'm already there. My fire is on. Okay? But then what happens to those people? Even though that they're already in Torah, mitzvot, masim tovim, they started doing it not the right way. In other words, they started, sometimes people know so much that the Yetzer Hara plays on their Torah. What happens? The guy learned the halacha, the guy learned the parasha, the guy heard something from the rabbi. What does he do? He starts to create heterim for himself. According to what I heard in this halacha, I'm pretty sure that I can do this only because if I do it in Shinu, what are you doing? Now you're using your Torah to give yourself loopholes. You're going to get burnt. You do that, you're going to get burnt. The one guy is in the dark, he needs Torah. The other guy has Torah, but he's using it the wrong way. He's going to get burnt. So in order to acquire the Torah, you need esh, to light up the way, and also be careful not to get burnt from it. The last part, Bamidbar. What's Bamidbar? Bamidbar is the desert, right? What's a desert? There's nothing there. They said that the Torah was given to the Jews that ate the man. That was the language I was taking. That was said. To the Jews that ate the man. Why didn't it say to the Jews that left Egypt? Why didn't it say the Jews that are in the desert?
Who didn't eat the man? Everyone ate the man. There's nothing else to eat but the man.
But they could have given a different terminology. Say the Jews that were in the desert. The Jews that got out of Egypt.
Yeah, well said.
Why was the Torah given to those that ate the man? Why was that tagline given to them? Because the Jews that ate the man were very unique. A very time period in Judaism. Very, very special Jews. No bills. No work. Food from the Shamayim. Don't even have to do laundry. The Ananei Kavod used to clean and wash their clothes for them while it's on them. The clothes would grow with them. I mean, practically nothing needed to be done. The only thing that they needed to do is what?
Learn.
Study Torah. But like we said in this parasha, what happens when you have a lot of time on your hand? You start to complain, you start to have issues, you start to have problems. You can see this week's parasha, a lot of things that came up Well, maybe because they had too much time on their hand. But on a different note, there was no better generation than the Midbar. All day long they were eating the best heavenly food, the food of angels, and taking and no worries of the world, completely nothing, and all they have to do is study Torah. Wow. But what's the Midbar? The Midbar is that how do you acquire? What's this acquisition of the Torah through the Midbar? It says that a person also has to feel like he wants the Torah like there's nothing else. So just like those Jews in the desert had nothing else but the Torah, that's how a Jew needs to feel with himself. That's what I wanted. Like there's nothing else. What's in the Midbar? If you think about it also, it's very interesting. There were slaves. Work, hardships, a tyrant for a king, and then all of a sudden, all this action, Aseret Makot, splitting of the sea, Moshe Rabbeinu, you know, you can see like all these things going on, and then all of a sudden, what's the climax? Desert. What's going on? Why desert? You know, like the desert is the most unexciting place in the world. There's practically nothing around. It's truly a test of emunah, actually. That imagine you saw all this action movie in front of you, and I tell you, okay, now believe in Hashem with nothing around you, just in the desert. What a test! What a test! What a test to see all these things. You say, you know what? Can you give me a little bit more of what we saw over there? Can you do some more magic tricks? Can you show me some more things coming from the sky? Some more wild beasts coming through? Well, where's the action? You have to understand, there was a very, very, very unique generation, the generation of the Midbar. And when it opens up over here, Hashem Moshe Midbar Sinai, why is it mentioning Midbar? To learn from that generation of the Midbar, and how to acquire the Torah the way that those Jews acquired it. Just a small part from the first pasuk. After that, talks about all the different Shevatim. What's interesting about the Shevatim? They mentioned the head of the Shevatim. Later on, we'll see what's going to be with these heads of Shevatim. We'll visit them. But a large portion of the parasha talks about the Shevatim and counting them. Why? So it actually says because Hashem loves the Jewish people. So what does he like to do? He likes to count them. Similarly, like a rich man, he loves his diamonds. He loves his gold coins. What's his best thing? To go into the safe and count them one by one. How rich am I? That's like Kadosh Baruch Hu, the Jewish people. He counts them later on also after the plague because they're so dear to him. But this is what he's doing right now. We just got out of Egypt. Let me count you. Let me see how many beautiful, precious diamonds I have in my possession. The Jew. It's interesting. It says over there, I believe that. It says over there that when they traveled, it says over there when they traveled, ככל אשר ציווה השם את משה, כן חנו לדגליהם, וכן נסעו אל שמיכותיו אל בית אבותיו. In other words, they had a certain way. Each tribe had his own flag, and they were traveling in a certain formation, identical all the time. And when they would travel a certain way, and then they would park a certain way, they would rest a certain way. And when it was time to go, they would get up and go to certain. In other words, it says the pasuk over here, Ken Hanu, Ken Nasau. The same way that they parked themselves, or they camped themselves, that's the exact same way that they would go. Listen to this beautiful explanation over Ken Hanu, Ken Nasau. When do we park ourselves in everyday life? When do we stay stationary in everyday life? Shabbat, right? Shabbat is the day that we chonim, that we stay stationary. It says the way that you act on Shabbat, you're studying, you're doing seudot, you go to shul, you're the best version of yourself. He said in Kenasa, when you go during the week, act like you act on Shabbat. Sometimes during the week, people act a little bit different. On Shabbat, they're on their best behavior. They come to shul. How are you? How are you? How's everything? You know, Shalom Aleichem. And then you see him Tuesday at work. He's a completely different animal. So it says, the way you act on Shabbat when you're parked, that's the way you act for the rest of the week. I heard another explanation that says that for the traveling businessman, he says, how do you act when you're at home? You act proper. You have your community. When you come to shul, you act properly. When you have the people that know you in the community, everything's proper. You make sure nobody sees me doing this, nobody sees me that. You're trying to be the right thing. But when you're traveling, nobody knows you. Nobody knows you. You can do whatever you want and nobody can catch you. So sometimes people also, when they go on holidays, they become lax in the Avodat Hashem. They pray a little bit less. Maybe they don't follow all the kosher stringencies. All of a sudden they start doing, like we said about that guy, all of a sudden start making heterim. Oh, it's just tuna. It's just the juice. It's just this. They're finding heterim for themselves. So this pasuk says, Ken chanu, ken asau. The same way that you act at home when you're traveling, when you're away from your house, when you're on vacation, when you're on business trip, act the same way that you act at home, even when nobody's looking. We learned this over here from the tribes.
Where
You're on pasuk Lamidalet. Lamidalet 736.
I just want to see in the English how to translate.
Lamidalet 34. Right here. The children of Israel.
Did everything
So they encamped according to their bands, so they journeyed. In other words, the same way that they camped is the same way that they moved.
It could also be interpreted. I've heard rabbis say that if you want to know how your week is going to be, just look at how your Shabbat was.
Exactly.
So maybe it's saying here, based on how your Shabbat went, how you treat the Shabbat, how you invest into the Shabbat, will so also be how your week, how
Very
your
noga.
week will go.
Very good. I heard one time from Rabbi Dahan from Shuvah Yisai. He had a beautiful analogy. He says, take a cup of hot water, that's the week. Take a tea bag, that's Shabbat. Put the tea bag inside the hot water, what it starts to give color. He says, the more you put the tea bag, the more you have color in the water. He said, that's Shabbat. The week is an empty, clear. The way you keep Shabbat, that's the color that gives it for the rest of the week. Last small chidush, right after that pasuk, it says, "Ve'ele toldot Aharon Moshe, b'yom diber Adonai Moshe b'Har Sinai." It says these are the offsprings of Aharon and Moshe. And then after that, it continues, says, "Ve'elu shmot bnei Aharon," and then it continues to say just the names of the children of Aharon. Stop right there. You tell me these are the children, or these are the offsprings of Aharon and Moshe, and then you tell me the children just of Aharon. Something is off with it. What happened to Moshe's kids? How come they're not mentioned? Rashi tells us over here. Why did they? Why v'nikru toldot Moshe lifnei shamdan Torah? Why is Moshe mentioned over here that Aharon's children are his offspring? Because he taught them Torah, and apparently any person that teaches another person Torah, it's as if let's say he teaches somebody's children Torah. It's like he became their father. As a matter of fact, Rashi said in a different place, he says, anyone who teaches another person Torah, it's like he gave him birth. So let's try to understand that. How is it possible that if I teach somebody else's kid, I become his father? How is it possible that if you teach somebody's Torah, you become you can be his father, and one of them could be his offspring? Because they said, what did you do? You gave them their spirituality. What's more important, the person's body, eyes, arms, head, feet, or his neshama inside? So it's a neshama, because the neshama is forever. The body's just here. So a regular father just gives the body. The spiritual father gave him what? Eternity. So Moshe over here, because he taught him Torah, became like their father. And that goes for any time. Anytime you have a chance to teach a kid something, do it. Why? Anybody.
Yeah.
It says, and if you teach somebody, a grown person Torah, it's like as if you gave him birth. Why? Because let's just say that person was spiritually dead. And then all of a sudden you give him Torah, and all of a sudden you gave him birth. He's spiritual now.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting to show the power of Torah. That a person can actually give birth to another person, even if the person is alive, he has a mother, he has a father. But it's actually giving him spiritual birth, becoming his spiritual father, his spiritual teacher.
Well, I can. So when Hashem told Abraham when Abraham went to Lakot at Yitzchak, Hashem goes to him, Abraham, Al tishlach yadecha el hana'ar, right? So he says Abraham's name 2 times. So I'm not sure who I learned this Torah lesson from, but I think it's Rabbi Shara Pinto or another rabbi. I'm not sure. But so he says one of the reasons is when you love somebody, you say the name twice. So he goes, Abraham, how much I love you. You know, Al tishlach yadecha, don't send your arm. Another reason is when you want to get someone's attention, you say the name 2 times. You know, Abraham. You know, hey, whoa, stop what you're doing. Don't send your arm. So, and the third reason is he wanted to differentiate between who Abraham was before the mitzvah and who Abraham was after the mitzvah. So just like you were saying, you're born. Every time you learn Torah, it's like as if you were born again. So, but actually, we're literally a new person. Every single time we do something, we become a new person. Abraham went from Abraham to a new level of Abraham. And Hashem said it like that to differentiate between the Abraham. So no, you became a new Abraham. But we also have to focus on what happens if we do an Avera. We're not the same person anymore. Literally that one Avera, that one not speaking nicely, anything we do literally changes who we are. And then we do things differently. So that's why they say mitzvah goreret mitzvah, Avera goreret Avera. Why does a mitzvah lead to a mitzvah? Because if you did a mitzvah, you became a new and stronger person. Therefore, doing another mitzvah should be easier. If you do an avera, therefore you made yourself weaker, and now at that point, if you made an avera the way you were before, it's much easier to make an avera now because you just made yourself even weaker. So
beautiful. I can add to that.
Yeah, please.
They say, why Avraham? He says Avraham, he already was challenged by Yetzer Hara several times. There's the whole story over there where he created a river for him, and he was trying to, he was making noise in the bush. He was trying to confuse him. Avraham says, nothing's going to stop me. When he said Avraham, he says, I know he's trying to do it. And he said again, Avraham. He said, okay, second time what? In other words, he was so focused, for the second time was to get him out of it. Thirdly, the concept that you're talking about is the concept of changing a person's identity. What do we mean by that? This is something that you hear a lot around the time of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. A person has sinned the whole year, and that's it. The judgment is about to come down. This is already, for example, Aseret Yemei Teshuvah. What happened? Rosh Hashanah, Hashem decides this is what's happening with that person that day. We have 10 days to change the decree, right? Aseret Yemei Teshuvah. What's happening over here? Let's just say the person has a deen that's coming down from the Shamayim. Coming down from the Shamayim, and it's supposed to happen. But on the way down, the person made Shuvah. So now, it has the wrong address. They're looking, where's Mr. Levy? Mr. Levy, they're looking for Mr. They can't find him. Why? It's a different Mr. Levy over here. This is a Mr. Levy with Teshuvah. Goes back to the Shamayim. What do we say? A person also sometimes on the flip side of that, there's a bracha that comes to him. The bracha is coming from the Shamayim, and all of a sudden they're looking for that guy. But what happened? He did an Avera. So they're looking for that guy, and that guy is a different guy. There's a guy that did an Avera. It's not the same person. It's not the same address. It's like I'm telling you, it's Yosef, Yaakov, Levi. All of a sudden it's Yosef, Yaakov, he lost the Levi. Yosef, Yaakov, oh no, I'm sorry. There's nobody here by that name over here. So sometimes the Avera or the Beracha comes down, no address to go to. So what did they say? What is the concept of tshuva? A person, let's say, did a very, very big sin. and he's worried. He's worried, I'm going to get punished now, right? So the truth is, yeah, you're going to get punished if you stay the same. In other words, you did the sin and you froze. You froze. I did the sin, I'm frozen. However, if a person did a sin and he did teshuvah, then he has nothing to worry about. You know why? Because whoever did the sin is a different person. The person that did teshuvah, that's a different person too. It's the same guy, but it's a guy that did a teshuvah. He changed his identity. So even when that thing is coming down, the judgment, they can't find the guy. Why? He already did his teshuvah. He's a different person. The concept of teshuvah is huge. All you have to do, and it changes your identity in the Shamayim. That's why also the last thing that I'll say is what do we say during the time of Kippur? Le'olam Adonai devarcha nitzav b'shamayim. We say, Hashem, let your decree stay in the Shamayim. Why? Why? We say 12 times in Yom Kippur.
Because if it comes down, we'll be in big trouble. I don't know.
Of course. Boy, tell him, why do you keep your decree in the Shamayim? Because that means you judged me, and that's what you decided is the right thing for me to happen, and it's going to come down, right? You tell him, no, keep it up there. You know why? I judged myself. I judged myself already. Because I judged myself, I already know what my teshuvah is. I don't need that deen. I already did that teshuvah. That deen that you have is for the guy that didn't do the teshuvah. You're right. That needs to come down. But if I did my own soul searching and I know that I did wrong and I say that I'm going to fix it, keep it up there. It doesn't need to come down. The concept of teshuvah, it's huge.
I have another breakdown since we're on this topic.
Yeah, why not?
Just to go a little deeper, Rabbi, on teshuvah first. So on teshuvah it says, I forgot who I learned this from, but so you make a sin, you do an avera, right? And let's say you're a table, you're a mahogany, like you have top of the line wooden table, right? You make this sin. And what happens to the table? The sin damages the table, right? Just like it damages our soul, we're damaging the table. So let's say we burn a hole in the table, right? So we're going to do tshuva, right? But the table's still messed up. How does that, you're devalued. How does this work? So I heard a very beautiful way to understand what tshuva actually means. It's as if you took the table and you dipped it in gold. When someone does tshuva, he took the table and dipped it in gold. Not only is everything, no scratches, no holes, everything is perfect, but the value of it is worth 10-fold. It's a whole nother league. It's a different table completely. It won't even sell in the same bracket. So another thing I wanted to explain a little more deeper on what we were talking about, avaham, how a person changes with every action. So I got this from Rabbi Schaefer, and it comes from the Parashat Devarim, when he speaks about, Hashem says, if you go in my ways, that your land should give fruits, and that you should defeat your enemies, and you should have all these all success, right?
But if not,
and if you don't go in my ways, then your enemies will run after you and track you down, and your land won't give fruits, and etc., right? So Rashi brings down, if I'm not mistaken, he brings down that Bechukotayu, in my ways, Hashem means if you learn Torah. So this is a very difficult concept to understand.
Yeah, Mishnayot.
Right? What? There's 613 mitzvot, but Rashi says it's if you learn Torah. So just to go a little more, to break it down, inside of us, we have this specific space, okay? Let's say it's 100% of space. In that space, there's two things that survive. One is the nefesh ha-sichli, and the two, the nefesh ha-behemi. The spiritual and the behemi, right? Now, they're exact opposite. One is purity and one is the exact opposite, right? So if one becomes stronger, the other one becomes weaker. So there's only 100% of space. So let's say one of them is 50% and the other one is 50%, because there's only 100% of space. So if a person does a mitzvah, the sichli, the spiritual one, becomes stronger, becomes 51%, which, since there's only 100% of space, what happens to the behemi? Has to become smaller, becomes 49%, because 49 and 51 is 100%, right? So also, you see how you become a different person. Every action you do, you're either giving power to the sichli or to the behemi. Now, being born again, when you learn Torah, because Rashi says, "Bechukotai, in my ways, learn Torah." That's what Hashem meant. So you're saying that when someone teaches someone Torah, it's like giving them birth again. So when Rabbi Schaefer explained what Rashi was saying, he says that Torah, why is he saying Torah? Because Torah is like rocket fuel. The second someone just learns Torah, he breaks the percentages like crazy. He gives him so much energy, he takes him to a whole nother level. So it's very important every time we learn Torah. And another thing, because we were talking about the man, I learned this from Rabbi Sadon. He explained that every morning they would wake up and the man was outside the door, right? And on Shabbat there was two. Yom Shishi, it was two. So he says, but if someone did an Avera and they went outside their door to get the man, it wasn't there. They'd have to go look for their portion of man. He says, what is man? Man is the Parnasah. He says, today, what's the Chidush? Today, if a person's really tzaddik and emunah, strong in Hashem,
Parnasah comes to him.
The Parasah will come knock on his door. He doesn't even need to go.
Beautiful.
What if a person has to run from here to there? Think, what's going on? Why do I have to do all this? Why? The man used to come to our door. What's going on? Do tshuva.
Beautiful. I'm going to add to the man. And then we'll turn to David for Chidush. So, this is for the Latins in the room. The whole concept of man is the concept of emunah. Same thing like with the last week's parasha was about Shemitah. What is Shemitah? You're asking the farmer to, on the 6th year, he worked half a year off, 7th year off. The following year, you plant a seed, wait. It's practically not working for almost 2 to 3 years. Rashi says Hashem is going to give him the 6th year, enough for 3 years. I ask you today, I dare anybody, I mean that was for farmers working the land, but I want to see anybody nowadays that if we had Shemitah and say, you know what, close down your store for the next 2-3 years, Hashem will provide. What level of emunah you have to have? What level of emunah? The first question would be to manochal. What are we going to eat, right? What's the word manochal? Ma, mem, nochal, nun. Mem and nun, man. What's man? Man is parnasah mishamayim. You have to have faith. Speaking of the man, the way that it worked is very interesting. Every morning, they get exactly what they need, and the next day again, and the next day again, the next day again. On Friday, something special. They get double, because on Shabbat you can't collect. So when they woke up on Shabbat morning, they're like, "Oh my God, what a miracle! Worms didn't come out of it. It didn't spoil." Friday lasted for 2 days. So I want to ask you a question. How do you say Friday in Spanish? Viernes, right? What's viernes? Viernes. Look, nes. Look, there's a nes. This is a chidush from Rav Yaakov Kudi from Me'am Loez, who was a Ladino. He lived in Sevilla, Spain. And he had that chidush over there. He says Hashem puts in every language a little chidush over there. He says the reason why it's called Viernes is because to show everybody, look, Friday, there's a nes on Friday. It's not going to spoil the month on Shabbat.
Just add one more thing for the man. Rabbi Sadon explained that when they did that Vera, the man wouldn't show up outside the door. So what they would do, instead of going looking for it, because if someone saw someone
it'd be
looking
embarrassing for them.
Yeah, they'd be like, this guy did something wrong. So they would make believe they got the man. They stayed home. They didn't have anything to eat. They would fast. It would purify themselves, and instantly, the next day, man would show up again. So it shows you, okay, fasting.
Beautiful.
A thing on Teshuvah is that the formations, they have, like you said, they had a set formation that they would rest and then they would go. Now when they were leaving, it says on Rashi that he would lead the formation. He would lead the second that Reuben would lead the second formation, right?
Okay.
And it would be would it be on the south? I'm pretty sure it would be on the south, right? The one that he led. Because it says here that So, cause the thing is, the south, it says here, is a source of like rain and dew, and it's a good, and dew is like, and rain and dew is like a symbol of it's purifying, it's renewal, like for the grass and the trees. So, and it says here also Reuben and his companions were Gad, and he was a warrior, and Shimon, and Shimon he needed to get to Shuba for the whole thing with Chet.
That's right.
And so then that was how that Shimon, he would be flanked by repentance and strength. And repentance would be Reuven, and strength God.
So there was a special uniqueness why there were those three grouped together.
It's a whole Rashi.
There's definitely a reasoning for why they had. Also, Ma'am Noaz, I read into it. There's a reason why each three were grouped together, and the color of the flags, and the images on the flags, and the Yud-K Vav-K on the flag. In other words, the flag had certain colors. Besides that, it would have an image. Yisachar had a donkey. Dan had a snake. I think Yehuda had a lion. Doesn't matter, the kids' books over here has all those things. And there also Yud-K Vav-K, Hashem's name Yud-K Vav-K. And there's 12 different formations that you could boggle that name. And each flag had a different version of that Hashem's name. There's more to it than just the formation of what is said over here. It's interesting that when they were taking a census of all the tribes. So basically, the way they would do it, they would go to the tent and they say, okay, how many of you over here, and how many of you over here? So in other words, if you see how the language that was used over here, it says Velekahat Mishpachat Amari, Mishpachat Eitzari, and then it says over here the amount. But at the end, there's one thing that they don't say, that they counted one family. There's one family that they didn't count.
Wait, you think facing the wrong way?
No. It says over there that the Benjamin they didn't count. Why? Something very interesting is because when they asked
Never
for
sinned.
No.
Benjamin was
Not
part
sure.
of the whole.
I'm
He
gonna
wasn't born yet. I don't know. I was guessing.
No. Because they said they would ask for each tribe. Each one. When they got to the last one, whichever one's left over, you don't have to ask. It's the last ones that were left over. So it's the only. It makes sense. That's why it's not mentioned. I'm not sure if it's been here. I'm going to find it out over here. They said they asked for each single tribe. How many in this one? He would go and ask how many from this tribe over here, how many of that tribe over here, how many of this tribe over here, and then whatever. On the last question, he didn't ask because why? They're the last ones left over, and that's what they say for this family. They didn't ask. I'm going to find out if it's Binyamin. I'm going to make sure.
The thing also thing about the flags is that each flag I think had a letter on it, and the formations eventually, and it was for the formations were 4-4-4, right?
Yes.
And each letter would spell out, like each formation would spell out one of the Avos' names. Now there was Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and for Avram there was they all had letters, right? And if you take the first of each letter, it would be like, if I'm correct, it says here it was Aleph Yud Yud. The second was Beis Samech Ayin. The third was Reish Chav K. Chav Kuf. And if you would take the first of each one, if you put together would be Avram.
Mm-hmm.
The second Yitzhak. The third Yaakov. The thing is for Avram, there was a hay in it, and it was that from the Nani Akavod. It added the hay.
Nice.
Yeah.
See that
And it would show us It would show us how when you're together, when we're together, when the nationals together, they're able to summon the merits of the avos.
Unity is huge for the Jewish nation. Huge. The other thing that they say about the flags, which is very interesting, this is a chidush for the end of the Chumash, but I'll throw it in now. When they were ready to go to Israel, it says over there that all the tribes went to Israel except for Dan, Gad, and Chatzi Menashe. Right? Those are 2.5. Is it Dan, Gad, and Chatzi Menashe? Yeah. Those are 2.5 tribes. Is it Dan, Gad, and Chatzi Menashe?
Yeah,
Dan, Gad, and Chatzi Menashe are 2.5 tribes that did not go. They said, we want to be on the other side of the Jordan. Go into Israel and we'll stay over here. Listen to this interesting chidush. Remember we were just talking about Yud Kei Vav Kei, right? What's the numerical value of Yud Kei Vav Kei?
13? No, not 13. 20. 15, 12, 21, 26.
26. Shem Hashem. So each flag had the Yud Kei Vav Kei, which is the numerical value of 26. Right?
Yeah.
So now everybody's going to Israel except for 2.5 tribes. What is the numerical value of 2.5 tribes? 26 plus 26.
65.
65.
No, 26 is 52.
Yeah, plus 13.
Plus 13.
65.
65. 65 is exactly the gematria of the word mezuzah. Mezuzah. You know that we put in the thing? So they
They
said
were like the guardians.
they said they were the mezuzah, Eretz Israel. That's why they put him right over there at the entrance and they didn't come in. So that's a beautiful chidush when I heard that one. Okay, you have another one?
Me?
How about you,
Okay,
Isaac?
actually
You have
one.
something for us?
Actually, one.
What?
On the, you know how you said how people sometimes when they go, let's say they're on vacation or or they're traveling, they won't be on their full game. They might put the film like an hour later than you're supposed to, or whatever. So it says here that with the because during the Ohel Moed, it was called Ohel Moed even after they took it apart when they were traveling, right? So it says here that and its holiness was still there. So it shows you how when you're traveling, when you're being a tourist or a traveler, you should still retain your holiness.
100%. That's the point that was made. It's interesting, something else then I'll say about that. It says anything that you do in public, like Shachrit, Mincha, and Arvit, in a way it's easy. Why? Because in a way also, people are looking. Look at me, I'm praying. Look at me, I'm looking like a tzaddik right now. There's two things that have a very, very high level, more than prayer. I just learned this recently, that there's two things that have such a high regard in God's eyes and have a way, way stronger effect on a person's life more than prayer. And prayer is big. And prayer is strong. So imagine if it has more than that. And those two things are Hidbodedut.
I'm crying. I'm guessing.
No. And Shema Yisrael al Amita. Listen to this. Hidbodedut. What's Hidbodedut? Nobody's watching. Nobody's watching. You are by yourself. You're talking to God. You're being real right now. You're being yourself. You're talking to Hashem. I want to thank you for this. I want to thank you for that. I have problems with this. I have problems with that. I'm happy. I'm sad. I'm laughing. I'm crying. You're real. In Hidbodedut, you're real.
That's the whole point of everything, is to get to a point where you can do it for the dude.
Hidbodedut should be first, before everything else.
Yeah,
but since it's backwards, that's what it is. But why do we do it? Because we want to get to the point where we're real. Not doing a show. Look at me, I'm at shul 7:30 in the morning. Look at me, I have a book in front of me. Look at me, I'm carrying 5 books under my arm. Forget the show. Hashem doesn't want the show. Hashem wants the heart. So it says Hitbodedut has a very strong thing because you're real with Hashem. The second thing is Shema Yisrael al Amitah, which is not connected to Shema Yisrael of Shachrit, is not connected to Shema Yisrael of Arvit. It's not a prayer. It's its own separate thing, and it's more powerful.
Is that when you're about to go to sleep?
Yes. What's going on over here? Shema Yisrael in Shachrit, oh, of course, everybody's watching. Let me move fast. Oh. In the nighttime, oh, of course, everybody's watching. Oh, like, look at me, I'm in shul again. When you're at home, maybe you don't have to do Shema Yisrael. You can say, leave me, that's it. Now I'm at home. Give me the remote control. Leave me, you know what, maybe bring me 4 pillows. I just really want to relax. That's it. Tomorrow morning, I'll do Shema Yisrael again. No, it says, a person that right before he goes to sleep does Shema Yisrael, right there and then it says, when nobody is watching, you're doing it, that's number one on a much higher level than anything else. Because Shema Yisrael on Amitam, you're being you. You're on the honor system. Nobody's watching if you're doing it, you're not doing it, if it's on time, if it's not on time. It's you, what's on the honor system. It's you, Be'emet, saying, Hashem, how can I go to sleep without saying Shema Yisrael? Secondly, Shema Yisrael.
I have a question.
Yes.
When one goes to when I go to bed, what I do is I say Shema, I say V'ahavta, and then I finish. Is one supposed to do the whole thing Baruch and then I've
There's a lot more to it. I'll walk you through it very quickly.
And the other?
No, I'll walk you very quickly. This is what it is. There's the. Yeah, I'll bring a siddur quickly. You should know halachically, just saying Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto L'Olam V'ed. You came out. You're yotzeh. Okay, but that's not the point, because that's when you're badachak, in a rush. You're about to fall asleep any second, just like your Shema Yisrael like that. But in reality, Shema Yisrael has a lot more to it. First of all, you're doing teshuvah before you go to sleep.
It's a whole summary. Whenever I do it, it's like a whole. Whenever I do it after, it's like a whole summary. It's like looking at the whole day and seeing what I did, and like what I could have done better and what I did good.
Beautiful.
I remember there was actually a story about a rabbi who had a brother. I think it was his brother, and he didn't find any, like, I don't know, but it was a great, I think he had a dream, or that it was a great person, or it was his brother. He wanted to see, like, if what he did that was like really holy. So he went there, but his brother was an innkeeper, and he was a regular innkeeper, and there was nothing extraordinary. So when they went to sleep, the rabbi woke up to like crying, and when he saw it, was that what the person did was he wrote down during the day. He had a book and he wrote down all that he did, like something he felt he didn't do wrong. Let's say he treated someone like not so nicely, whatever, and he would beat himself, and the writing would disappear when the teshuvah was accepted. So, in some way, without the beating, I can look through my whole day and ask Hashem for a teshuvah for something that I've done.
It's exactly that. You should keep doing that. Basically, what is it? They say that the Yetzer Hara, the one thing he doesn't want you to do is Shema Yisrael al Amitah. He'll do everything to get your mind busy, forget, tired, eat, anything. Just don't do Shema Yisrael al Amitah. You have no idea the value of Shema Yisrael al Amitah. Why? Because at the Shema Yisrael al Amitah, first of all, you say, Hashem, I forgive anybody that did anything to me, and forgive me if I did anything to anybody else. You're doing tshuva. In other words, no matter what you did the whole day, you're erasing it and you're sending it up. If you don't do Shema Yisrael al Amitah, what happens? The Yetzer Hara comes, full book. Look at this guy. Look what he did today. But when you do your teshuvah, what happens? He comes in, he's like, what? Nothing on paper? Sorry, nothing on paper.
It disappeared.
It disappeared. Imagine what's the concept of teshuvah before you go to sleep. Now, after you do after you have that little excerpt of teshuvah and you do Shema Yisrael and you say it fully, because there's an inyan to say it and make sure that you don't swallow each letter. Shema Yisrael, saying each letter is very important, because how many letters are in the Shema Yisrael?
246.
Very good. Sorry, 248. 248. Keneged remach. We have 248 remach evarim, organs. And each letter corresponds to an organ. Should you slur a word,
You'll be missing an organ.
one organ doesn't have the protection that day. It's very interesting. Now, after you say the Shema properly, there's a thing over here. It says, "Ya'alezu chasidim bechavod, yiranu al mishkotam imot el b'gonav v'cher pifiyot be'adam." They say, when you say that pasuk, you're holding a sword, and this sword is able to get rid of over 1,200 mezikin. Mezikin are these bad angels that are following you, that want to do bad to you. Now, it's either you created them that day, or you created them in the past and they're constantly going with you. This pasuk over here, you grab a sword and just slashing them. I had a rabbi tell me one time, it's like Rambo. He takes the big gun and he shoots them down one by one. He says that's what happens at that time. Plus, we say a very interesting prayer. הנה מיתתו של שלמה, 60 גיבורים סביב לה מגבורי ישראל, כולם אחוזי חרב ודמי מלחמה, איש רבו יכול פחד אלוהות 3 times. Each one over there has 60 letters. Big, deep secret to say 3 times. Big. It's a whole class within itself. Then after that we do a perek of Yoshev Beseter Elyon. The Yoshev Beseter Elyon also big protection for the soul. Then we do Ana. On the days that we do Tachanun, we do Ana. Imagine you're setting the soul like it did nothing, like a baby soul. No matter whatever you did, why? That's the power of Teshuvah. You take back what you did and you say, I'm not going to do it again. That's it, no problem. If not, was the Yetzer Hara, he comes with a full report. He brings it himself. Look at this guy. Look what he did today. But you do this for 5 minutes before you go to sleep every day, he has nothing to report. Now, the last thing over here, after we do the vidui, it says over there the Ana Bechoach. It says Ana Bechoach. You have to understand, anytime you see Ana Bechoach, let yourself know that you're right now, it's an elevator. Every time you say Ana Bechoach, it's an elevator. It's sending something up. It's almost like a personal Kaddish. You know, in the Minyan, you say Kaddish to send things up. Ana Bechoach is like a personal thing, you're sending something up. The rule is, according to the day that you're on, for example, today's Leil Sheni, right? We're already in Monday. This is Monday night. Tomorrow is Monday day, then there's Monday afternoon, and then in the night it becomes Tuesday. You know, for Jews, we first have the night, then the day. Right now it's considered Sunday night, right? It's Sunday night. For the Goyim, right now we are Monday night, because the night starts. So that's why when you're doing Ana Bechoach, you have to keep in mind, you don't say the pasuk of Sunday. It's not Sunday. Right now it's Monday night. It's the beginning of Monday. The day starts. Why? Because it says Vayi Choshech Vayi Or Yom Echad. It says first there was darkness, then there was light, then it's one day. How come Shabbat starts Friday night? Friday night, Saturday night, it's out, right? For us, the day starts at night. That's why Shabbat starts at night, Friday night. So, when you do that, keep in mind, if it's Sunday night, then I read Leil Shani. If it's Tuesday night, Leil Revi'i. What do? You go to that pasuk and you say it 3 times. Anyways, you say the entire Ana Bechoach, and then you go to the pasuk. For example, tonight will be Kabel Rinat Amecha. After I say everything, I do Kabel Rinat Amecha Segvenu Tered Nura. Kabel Rinat Amecha Segvenu Tered Nura. Kabel Rinat Amecha Segvenu Tered Nura. 3 times. Why? Because your neshama is going up, and it needs protection. So there's an angel that comes and takes your neshama, and he puts 2 wings on the top, 2 wings in the middle, and 2 wings on the legs, and it covers you up. Nothing can harm you. It's another secret over here. And then it says over there, and then you send, and then you you say that already. After you say the whole Ana Bechoach, then you go back and you say that thing 3 times. And then you go to sleep. And then it's also a good tip. When you go to sleep on your left side.
I remember we discussed it.
Why? First of all, it's good for the digestion. The heat of the liver and the pancreas is good for digesting the food overnight. But also on the left side, why? When you lean on the left side, you're saying the Yetzer Hara. You know, the Yetzer Hara is on the left. I beat you today. Pushing him in. I got you. That's it. Stay down. And then after a few minutes, they said the rabbi said you can go back and sleep whatever comfortable you are. But it's very, very big inyan. Sleep on the left right away. It's to show you and to show the Yetzer Hara, I conquered you today. That even when I'm going to sleep, I'm pushing you down. And by so the question goes, can I just not be religious? Can I just not do Torah mitzvot and just do Shema Yisrael al Amita and destroy all these 1,200 bad angels every night? Why do I have to go to study? Why do I have to go pray? Hard work. Let me do this 5 minutes before I go to sleep. That's it. Done. Loophole. So the Rabbi Yitzchak Cohen said in his class about Shema Yisrael al Amita, he says no. He says, what happens in the nighttime? He says, you're lassoing them. You got them. They can't move. Right? They wait for you until the morning. And when you do Shema Yisrael of Shachrit, then they disappear. So in other words, you have to be a religious Jew. You grab them at night, and in the morning of the Shema Yisrael, the job is done. Because the mezikin, you have to understand mezikin, these are, we make good angels when we make a bracha, when we make a mitzvah, good angels. But God forbid, there's also bad angels. But these bad angels, if you don't take care of them at night, they come back. You wake up in the morning, they wake up with you. You don't do Shema Yisrael, imagine, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 years, 3 years, you're waking up with a legion of bad angels just saying, hey, take care of me, you created me, feed me. Do another bad sin so I can be alive. So over here we're saying, you know what, the rabbis tell us, why you want to what? Why don't you wake up tomorrow with 1,000 good angels, maybe a handful of bad angels? So they say, Kriyat Shema Lamita is a huge, huge thing. I failed with it for a very long time. Because every time I talk myself out of it. I'll sit down, I'll talk to my wife, and I'll do it before I go to sleep. Or I'll be in bed, in a few minutes I'll do it. Right now I'm not tired. I'm not tired. I'm not tired. And every morning I wake up, I didn't do Shema Yisrael. Every morning I wake up, I didn't do Shema Yisrael. Every morning, I said, whoa. Anytime you're failing in something, you know what's the best thing to do? Learn on it. I took 3-4 classes, I learned on it, until I felt like, how am I not doing this? And now, Baruch Hashem, I found a good tip that the rabbi said. He says, go stand by the mezuzah. It's like almost like standing by a little mini shul. There's a klaf over there. He says, do your Shema Yisrael over there. He says, walk. Why? Because when you get into the bed, what happens? The pillow's so comfortable. The cover. All of a sudden, in just 1 minute before again. One time, if you guys have a chance, listen to Rabbi Mansour's class called The Masterpiece. He has a class, he talks about what if one day you can hand into Hashem a masterpiece. Then one day you wake up and you give him legit the best day you could ever hand in. And he was talking about waking up in the morning, doing everything according to you're supposed to do, and the learning and the studying, and the doing the Shalom Bayit properly, and raising the kids, and this and that, and then at the end, give him a Shema Yisrael, Hashem, I'm handing to you my masterpiece. I was thinking to myself, I wish. I'm still working on it. Be'ezrat Hashem, I'm hoping that this year I'll be able to have one day like that. I spoke to my chavruta about it, I'm working up to it, that the right day that I can actually wake up and say, you know what, if I was a perfect Jew, if all I had to do was be a perfect Jew, how would I be that day? And I'm trying to do that. Be'ezrat Hashem, one day to wake up and hand it to Hashem like Shema Yisrael, Hashem Hashem Echad Hashem, here, I have a masterpiece of a day for you. That'd be amazing.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is one allowed to say Shema while lying down though? Like
No, you're not. You're supposed to do it standing up by your bed.
Standing up by your bed?
Yeah, and that's another thing that people fail on is that they do it in bed. As a matter of fact, sometimes you're right there. If you're not going to say it, you're not going to get up. Some people go to sleep without a shirt on, sometimes with shorts or without even shorts. Certain people feel more comfortable sleeping a certain way. So all of a sudden, imagine the guy just got into bed. He has to get up, and he has to put on his shirt, and he has to put on his pants, and he has to put on everything. It becomes like a hassle. You say, you know what? I don't want to do it. So that's what the rabbi said. Before you go to sleep, go by the mezuzah, say it 5 minutes, and then when you go to bed, you do whatever you want. Learn on it. The more you learn on it, the more you learn the mitzvah. Be'ezat Hashem. Anybody have anything else? Be'ezat Hashem, that will merit to do more classes with you boys. That will finish. We'll do a chazak minit chazak on Sefer Bamidbar, and that you see that we start off from one subject and goes left. This night, and over here we were learning the importance of Shema Yisrael. Be'ezat Hashem, that all of us tonight remember to do Shema Yisrael al Amita and shoot down all the bad angels of today, so you can start tomorrow. The rabbi also said, you want a beautiful tomorrow morning? You have to set it up tonight. By doing Shema Yisrael in the nighttime, you guarantee yourself a good morning. If not, what happens as soon as you open up your eyes, they're there before you. They're waiting for you.
Also, learning Torah at night guards you in the day.
It's Chusha Chesed.
So this, all we did tonight, is huge. That means it's already tomorrow be expected.
Anybody who learns Torah at night, Chut Shel Chesed Nimshach. In other words, there's a special string of benevolence, of kindness that Hashem has ready for you the next day. That's why it's very important sometimes, like for example me, I have a hard time sleeping if I don't, in silence. I'm used to always having noise in my head. I'm working on it. So what do? I take a Dvar Torah and I go to sleep listening to Divrei Torah. And it counts as Chut Shel Chesed. You're going to sleep with Divrei Torah. And there's other people that do differently. They say Pesukim before they go to sleep. Torah tziva lanu Moshe Marshat Kilat Yaakov. Torah tziva lanu Moshe Marshat Kilat Yaakov. Or David Mech Yisrael Chav V'Kayam David Yisrael. They keep saying it. They keep saying until they fall asleep. But I like to listen to Divrei Torah before I go to sleep, and that counts as that Chut Shel Chesed. One time I told Rabbi Meir Eliyahu, he's a very good rabbi, very, very smart. When I met him, I go to him, Rabbi, I listen to you every night before I go to sleep. He goes, what, I'm a lullaby? What are you trying to tell me? Did I put you to sleep? I said, no, I listen to you every night. What kind of compliment you giving me? Anyways, have a great rest of the week.